Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Star quarterback subtly calls Dak Prescott selfish for Cowboys contract. The Dallas Cowboys have never been big spenders in free agency, and that's been the case again this year. While made some signings in the offseason, they have all been low-cost deals. That's always been Dallas' approach, but they didn't penny pinch last fall when they paid Dak Prescott. Last September, the Cowboys and Prescott agreed to a 4-year, $240 million extension. That deal made him the highest-paid quarterback in the league, making $60 million annually. 1 year later, he's still the highest-paid quarterback, but other guys have inked massive extensions. Buffalo's Josh Allen got a 6-year extension that is worth $330 million. He got a record $250 million guaranteed, but annually, he's going to make $55 million a year, which is tied for second in the NFL. When speaking about his new extension with reporters via Zoom call, Allen was asked why he didn't break Prescott's record, and he said, "I know it's weird to say, but what's $5 million more gonna do for my life right now that I can't already do? I live a really good life. Got a house, got a car. We're good." I was like, if it has any impact on the cap, let's figure out a way to not do that. Josh Allen didn't want to be highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. Allen saying this after coming off an MVP-winning season shows the kind of player and person he is. He could have easily become the highest-paid quarterback in the league, but instead, he wants to give his team flexibility to build a stout roster around him. You can't tell a player what type of deal to take. Prescott was looking to cash in, and he did exactly that. While he earned his payday, the contract he signed limits what Dallas can do. Per Spotrac, Prescott has a $76 million cap hit in 2026 and $70 million in 2027. On March 5, Prescott already had to restructure his deal, creating $36.6 million in cap space. With a monster extension for Micah Parsons looming, the Cowboys were looking for more wiggle room before free agency opened up. Again, Prescott cashed in on his monster deal, but at the same time, it handicaps the kind of players Dallas can bring around him. Being the highest paid at his position wasn't on the mind of Allen when negotiating his deal, but certainly was for Prescott in 2024. Cowboys still have work to do in replenishing their roster during free agency. Since NFL free agency began on March 10, the Dallas Cowboys have surprisingly made more moves than they did all of last offseason. They've signed multiple outside players, while trading for 2. They also just recently added running back Miles Sanders. Stephen Jones did use the term selectively aggressive when describing the Cowboys' approach to this year's free agency, and so far it seems fitting. After a 7-10 season last year, fans have grown impatient, hoping for a big turnaround this offseason to put them in a better position to contend in 2025. Despite their additions, the Cowboys are still in a deficit when it comes to their roster talent. It can certainly be argued that at this early point of the offseason, the roster looks weaker. Dallas has lost several key veterans this offseason. None hurts as much as Zach Martin, who announced his retirement from the NFL after a Hall of Fame-worthy season. But to make matters worse, they lost veteran defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seattle Seahawks in free agency. Heading into the offseason, Martin and Lawrence were the 2 longest-tenured players on the team, both having excellent careers with the star on their helmet. These weren't the only veterans to move on. Cornerback Jordan Lewis signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, becoming the highest-paid nickel cornerback in the league. Not only was Lewis a gritty and physical cornerback who had a knack for takeaways, the team is now awfully thin at the cornerback position. They made one move at the position by trading for former first-round pick Kaiir Elam from the Buffalo Bills, but so far Elam has not been as effective in the NFL as Lewis. It can also be argued that the team has currently downgraded at the running back position. Rico Dowdle signed with the Carolina Panthers, after rushing for 1,079 yards last season with the Cowboys. Dallas signed former Broncos running back Javonte Williams, whose best season came his rookie year in 2021 where he rushed for 903 yards. They also added Miles Sanders, but his output recently has been on the decline. While it is certainly cool to see the Cowboys more active in bringing in outside players, they still have work to do in replacing some of the talent that walked out the door. The fan base is itching for a big name to be acquired. While it appears unlikely for that to happen, the Cowboys need to continue adding players in free agency as well as excelling in the draft for this team to be a contender in 2025. Cowboys poaches rivals edge rusher for $6 million. The Washington Commanders have been busy through the first 4 days of NFL free agency at almost every position with one notable exception, edge rusher. The latest bit of inactivity on the part of the Commanders saw last season's sacks leader, edge rusher Dante Fowler, return to an NFC East rival by signing a one-year, $6.5 million contract with the Dallas Cowboys on March 14. Fowler played for the Cowboys in 2022 and 23 before leaving with former defensive coordinator Dan Quinn to the Washington Commanders last year and putting up 10.5 sacks, ESPN's Todd Archer wrote. Fowler's deal is worth $6 million and can move to $8 million based on incentives. The Commanders were encouraged to offer Fowler a contract extension late in the season as he became one of the key defensive pieces on a team that advanced to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1991. Fowler played for Washington on a one-year, $3.25 million contract in 2024. Fowler was a two-time All-SEC pick at Florida before the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted him with the number 3 overall pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, but his career got off to a terrible start when he tore his ACL on the first day of minicamp his rookie year and followed with a scandal, when he was illegally fined $700,000 by Executive VP and former head coach Tom Coughlin, which led to Coughlin's firing in December 2019. Fowler played in 2022 and 2023 on one-year contracts with the Cowboys before signing with the Commanders. His 10.5 sacks were his highest total since having 11.5 sacks with the Rams in 2019.